All right. Would everyone please stand as the Salina High School Central Band and Orchestra, led by Mr. Ben Rohr and Ms. Lindsay Modine, play the national anthem. Thank you. You may be seated. Good evening and welcome to Salina High School Central's commencement ceremony as we celebrate the graduation of the class of 2019. There are several honored guests that I would like to acknowledge at this time. On the stage with me today are members of the Salina USD 305 Board of Education, including President Nedra Ebel, Vice President Carol Brandert, Mr. Gary Denning, Ms. Emma Doherty, Mr. Jim Fletcher, Mr. Gabe Grant, and Ms. Ann Zimmerman. I am also joined today by Superintendent of Schools, Dr. James Hardy. Today's keynote speaker and former Kansas State University head football coach, Mr. Bill Snyder. Salina High School Central Senior Assistant Principal, Ms. Kelly Heisman. Assistant Principal, Mr. Scott Lee. And our terrific senior counselor, Ms. Candy Fitzpatrick. Seated behind our graduates this evening, you will find our incredibly talented faculty and staff. Thank you for being here today to celebrate the class of 2019. Finally, I would like to give special acknowledgement to Salina High School Central senior class sponsor, Mrs. Deanna Collins, who has played such a crucial role in making our graduation ceremony a success. Thank you, Mrs. Collins, for everything that you do for our school. Graduates, welcome to your high school graduation ceremony. This is an event that's been 13 years in the making. You've practiced, you've worked, you've loved, you've lost, you've persevered, you've learned, and you've won. And now you are moving on to your next step. Whatever that next step may be, I hope you remember your friends and classmates and the good times that you've shared with them during these past 13 years. This will be the last time that you are all in one place together. And this is not a bad thing. This is actually exciting. It means that you are about to begin the next chapter of your life. I hope that you remember your city. Salina is a great place. A place where you could raise a family, start a career, be a success, and make a positive impact. Just as SC is your school, Salina is your town. Please do not forget this. However you choose to look back on these last 13 years, just remember that good or bad, these past 13 years do not define who you are. They serve as your foundation. But it is what you do in the next 13 years and beyond. That is what truly defines you. Challenge yourself. Use your skills and talents. Throw your passion into everything that you do. You have the talent and the drive to change, to create, to innovate, and to lead. Go do it, Mustangs. The time is now to set off and make your mark. We believe in you, and we are excited to see what you go out and do next. I will close with these words. Whether you loved your time at Central or you simply powered through it, I want you to know that you will always be able to call Salina High School Central home. You are all now part of an exclusive club. You are graduates of Salina High School Central, and once a Mustang, always a Mustang. Thank you, graduates, for 4 great years. You will always be a special part of our school. Thank you, and good luck. At this time, please welcome Miss Audrey Burgoon, who will deliver today's first graduate address.
It is my pleasure to be speaking here today in front of our village of families, friends, staff, in the class of 2019 as we close this chapter and start the next. Today is the day where the path we have been on together splits. Today is our fork in the road. Up until now, we have been a team walking together as one, walking as SC. Even as we part roads, it is important to remember that whether we are college, military, or workforce bound, our lives and the people we meet will forever be intertwined as part of our journey. Our new goal is not to make the best out of our individual journey, but how we as individuals can make the best journey for the whole. The other day I heard this said, believing for people. There's a big difference between what you believe about someone and what you believe for them. What you believe for someone gives them the hope to know that they are loved and seen. A lot of times we focus on what we believe about someone and fail to even acknowledge them, much less believe for them. Believing for someone gives them the freedom to know that they are lovable and that there is someone cheering them on, truly wanting the best for them. It gives them something to live for. Believing for and believing in us is what Salina Central and the teachers and families who inhabit the halls have done for us. It has been the greatest gift and largest lesson to the support of our successes. But as we go out into the world, it is now our task to find who and what we are passionate for. What is it that will consume our time, our hearts, and our lives? It wasn't too long ago when we entered the high school halls, a little scared, anxious, and excited for the years ahead. In a crazy turn of events, we have somehow ended back exactly where we started, scared, anxious, and excited for the future. The difference is the growth we have endured and knowledge we have gained throughout our time as high school students. It wasn't easy. Many of us had the opportunity to experience the teachings of Mrs. Jett. She can often be heard saying, "Courage over comfort." It took courage to be a student. It took courage to take the field or the stage, to take that class or join a club, and it took courage to make it to where you are sitting today. As we look around to the people who have accompanied us throughout this time and raised us to who we are today, it is known that we couldn't have found our passions, formed our goals, and shaped our futures without them. Whatever path you have now chosen, choose it to the best of your ability. Be the best doctor, lawyer, friend, student, athlete, artist, teacher, and person you can be. Not only for yourself, but for the impact you will have on this world, on others, and for others. As we leave the comfort of familiarity and enter into the promise of the future, remember those who believe for you, what you stand for, and believe in yourself. Congratulations to you, to us, to the class of 2019.
Thank you, Audrey. Senior band and orchestra members, please join the band for your final performance. This evening, the band and orchestra will be playing the best of Bruno Mars. Thank you, Ms. Modine, Mr. Rohr, and all of the members of the Salina High School Central Band and Orchestra. Next, our keynote speaker this afternoon will be introduced by Student Council Vice President, Ms. Annie Taggart.
Precise, intense, tireless, accomplished, dedicated, caring, 200-game winner, Hall of Famer, Kansas State head coach Bill Snyder is all of these and much more. To understand the full picture of Snyder, it is necessary to acknowledge his values, sincerity, and warmth, along with the concern he shows for the people around him. All qualities that solidify his reputation as an innovator and mentor in college athletics. Snyder began his full-time coaching career in 1964 as an assistant at Indio High School in California. In 1966, he served as a GA at USC under John McKay before becoming head coach at Indio High School in 1967. He accepted the same position at Santa Ana Foothill High School in 1969, where he stayed until 1973. Named the 32nd head football coach at K-State on November 30th, 1988, and again as the 34th on November 24th, 2008, Snyder has amassed a career record of 210 wins, 110 losses, and 1 tie. Additionally, he is the 14th person in FBS history to be a head coach for at least 25 years at one school and never coach at another. Snyder's unprecedented success in 25 years at Kansas State has not gone unnoticed. He has been named the National Coach of the Year on 5 occasions, as well as being awarded the prestigious Bear Bryant FWAA National Coach of the Year Award. Snyder, 78, received his BA from William Jewell in 1963, and he earned his MA from Eastern New Mexico in 1965. As a player, he was a 3-year letter winner as a defensive back at William Jewell. Snyder and his wife, Sharon, have 2 sons, Sean and Ross, and 3 daughters, Shannon, Meredith, and Whitney. They also have 8 grandchildren, Sydney, Catherine, Tate, Matthew, Alexis, Gavin, Caden, and Tylen, and 1 great-grandson, DJ. At this time, would you please welcome our keynote speaker, Mr. Bill Snyder.
Thank you very much, Annie. And thank each and every one of you, and congratulations to so many here. Certainly congratulations to this wonderful group of graduates. Congratulations to your instructors, your teachers, and your administration. And certainly congratulations to all the parents and the families who have had such a major impact in your careers and your lives up to this particular point in time, and will continue, I'm quite certain, to do so. And I would hope, and I'm quite certain that you will, that each of the graduates here, will take the time at some point in time in the near future, and my guess is you probably have already, to make sure you extend your gratitude and your graciousness to your faculty and to your family and your parents, your administration, for their help in providing you the opportunities to achieve what you've achieved up to this point in time. I think, we all have a lot of things in common. Each and every one of you as a graduate have a number of things in common, but everybody in this building has some similarities in regards to, as I said, things that we have in common. And yet we are all different people, each and every one of us, and which is a value to be cherished as well. But I would think that among those things that each of you have in common is a desire to become successful in life. And that's an ongoing value, an ongoing ambition that each of you have. And I would suggest also that all of you have the opportunity which you have had and will have to provide leadership in some capacity throughout your lives, be it in your family, your community, your churches, your schools, whatever that capacity might be, but you will be thrust into a leadership role. And when you think about, the principles of becoming successful and the principles of providing quality and caring leadership, very likely they are somewhat one and the same. And I think as you think about, what is it that provides us with the capacity to become successful? I believe in a process for virtually anything and everything that we do. And it doesn't mean that it's isolated to one significant process. There may be several, but to have a process about the things that you do certainly give you greater opportunities, at least in my mind. I've often thought that, and I've shared with young people across our nation, certainly with young people that have been in our football program over the years, that first and foremost, one of the principles is surrounding yourself with people that genuinely care about you, people who want to, can, and will make your life better. We all would enjoy the rewards of being able to surround ourselves with those types of people. And we have them built in for the most part. You have family members, parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, etc. You have faculty members, teachers, coaches, people in your community, people in your churches, but a variety of different people that genuinely care about you and truly want to make your life better. And as I said, can and will do exactly that. The important thing is, will we surround ourselves with those people? Making the decision to bring those people into our life in a significant role. And I encourage you to truly think about that. I know when I was your age, it was significant to me to find those types of people in my life, and the person that led the way for me was my mother. And I had a great appreciation for my mother. I was a only child of a single parent, and my mother was 4'9" tall. She never weighed 100 pounds in her life, and yet she was the strongest and most influential person in the entirety of my life, and I've been around for an awful long time. And I realized after a while that the more of those types of people that you have in your life, the stronger you become and the greater your opportunities to succeed in life present themselves. And as I went through life, I began to pick and choose those people to bring in my life. Many of them were teachers. Some were coaches. Many of them were people in the church, people that were neighbors, people that were in the educational systems that I went through, a variety of different people. And to this day and age, I still seek out those types of people to bring into my life, because indeed they do make my life better. And I encourage you to think about that. It's so easy sometimes, and particularly at a younger age, where we come across those people that are very gregarious, who I'm talking about, and people that really do not necessarily care about us. They're about themselves, but not there to be a part of our lives and to be helpful in our lives. But we get to pick and choose, who that is that we incorporate into our lives. And I encourage you to think about that as you work your way through life. I think one of the other things that, becomes significant, and I've always shared with young people, again, in our program and across the nation, is we are all goal-oriented to a certain degree, meaning that all of us have goals in our lives. And to me, the important and most significant thing is certainly to have goals, but to have a process about how we achieve those goals. And that's the one thing that I think is missing from the vast majority of people on our earth. The National Education Association, NEA, did a study many years ago, and the numbers were somewhat astounding. The first thing they said was 100% of our society set goals for themselves. That means not only every one of the graduating class, but everyone that's in this building sets goals for themselves. We have that in common. Every single one of us do. The second statistic that they indicated was less than 50% actually have a plan about how to achieve the goals that they set for themselves without a process. And the third statistic that they offered up was that less than 5% of the goals that are set are actually achieved. And in this day and age, it might be significantly less than that. And the reason I say that is your generation has been identified as one of instant self-gratification. Have you heard that before? I'm guessing that you have. And what does that necessarily mean? And the way I define it, as much as anything, it means, I want it now. If I can't have it now, I'm going to move on to something else. Sad way to live a life. Those things that are really significant and important in your life, if they don't come very quickly, you move away from them and discharge them out of your life. I don't think you want that. And by the way, I had an opportunity to meet so many of you earlier today when everybody was getting lined up. And what an amazing group of young people that I met. And I've heard so many wonderful stories about the quality of individuals in this graduating class. I congratulate you on being those kind of people as well. But going back to, establishing goals becomes so significant, and having that process becomes equally and even more so significant. I think as we define our goals, I'll share with you what I've always asked young people in our football program. I will sit down with each and every one of them. I provide them with a notepad. I give them a pencil to write with and send them home and ask them to put that notebook on their bedstand. And each night for a solid week, 7 consecutive days, is that they take the notebook out when they go to bed at night and they think about those priorities in their life, those things that are most important. And my encouragement to you is to consider perhaps doing the same thing. What are your priorities in life? Not just today, not just tomorrow, not just in a week, a month, a year, but throughout the entirety of your life, the best that you know. What are those priorities in your life? What is it that is most important to you and will be most important in your life? And once they've defined that, and as I said, each night they go through and, they'll have something come up one night and the next night they'll erase it and add something to it, but pretty soon they get a pretty detailed list of those things that are priorities in their lives. And my encouragement, to them then is, now let's define our goals based on those priorities. And while they're in our program at Kansas State, I always offer up that I hope that their priorities would be their faith, their family, their future, to be the best person, to be the best student, and for those that are involved in athletics, to be the best possible athlete that they could be, knowing that each of them and each of you have many other priorities in your life as well. But defining those priorities is important. Sometimes we talk about them off of the top of our head, but maybe are not as well thought out as they need to be. Then I think the next step from that is to define a plan. If they're saying less than 50% actually have a plan or a process about how you achieve your goals, then I would encourage each of you to define a plan. How am I going to achieve each and every one of those goals? And if you're attempting to achieve something, and that's what goals are, achieving something that in all likelihood you've never achieved before. And so there is no particular reason for any of us to believe that you would know, or any of us would know the process, that we would know the steps we would have to take in order to achieve success in that particular area, to achieve that goal. So therein lies the value of those people that you bring into your life to help make your life better. There are many people that can help guide you and direct you towards the steps needed to take in order to achieve your particular goals. If it were a career goal, for instance, you wanted to be a doctor. I've met a couple of young people that have that in mind. And sometimes, you say, well, the best thing I can do is just go to school and get my degrees down the road. Well, maybe there's a little bit more to it, and I would suggest that there is. How do I find out? How do I find out all those steps to take? Well, my suggestion is you bring a physician into your life and engage in that individual, and therefore there is somebody that can give you some guidance and direction about how to do it. And when I mentioned about bringing people into your life that genuinely care and want to make your life better, one of our obligations as an individual desiring to be successful, when we bring those people into our life, that we reciprocate, that we need to be. It's important for us to be those types of individuals that truly want to help others, that care about others, that want to and can and will help others. And that helps guide us. That's another step in becoming successful in life. I think in terms of the goals that you set and having the process about how I'm going to achieve it, and defining the steps that I need to take to achieve where I want to go. In other words, I'm starting here and I want to get here. How do I do it? And we don't take it all in one step. That's where that instant self-gratification comes in. So many people are looking to get to that goal in the first step. And that's not realistic. Otherwise, it would probably not be a very concentrated or significant goal in our lives. So we take it step by step by step by step. And being able to do exactly that gives us the opportunity to feel successful as we move along the path towards the goal that we want to achieve, and kind of brings us back for the next day. But each and every day we make that attempt to take that step that will guide us a little closer to the goals that we have set for ourselves. I think one of the things that becomes significant there is that daily improvement. We've encouraged young people in our program year in and year out, day in and day out, and that is find a way to become a little bit better today and tomorrow and the next day and every day of your life in those areas that are priorities in your life. In other words, your goals. If you just think about it, it is a somewhat simple process. It is not hard. If you were to think right now, what is one of my goals, or what's one of my priorities in life? What can I do today to make myself a little bit better in that area? And you'll come up with an answer very quickly. Very quickly. I can remember when I first met with young people in our football program way back before any of you were born, when I first went to Kansas State University. And I can remember asking young people, when we talked about success, having success, and we defined it differently. It wasn't about wins and losses. It was about other more important things in life. And I would always ask the question, what do you have to do to achieve the successes that you desire to achieve your goals? And the answer was always the same. And I would suggest if I ask you right now, the answers would probably be very similar. And the answer would probably be work hard. If I want to achieve something, I have to work hard at it. And that's part of the answer, but that's not the whole answer. I can remember, as I said, my mother was my role model, and still is. My mother told me the same thing that your parents and many other people have shared with you, and that is what? If you desire something, you can achieve anything you want to achieve if you do what? If you work hard, right? I mean, that's been shared with each and every one of you. And I can remember when my mother shared the same thing with me. And I thought, okay, my mother is my role model. I'm going to follow her advice. And I can remember saying, okay, I'm going to focus on hard work. I wasn't sure what I was working hard at, but I was going to work hard. And I can remember working hard and ending up as far away from the goal as I was when I started. And it was so easy for me to think, at your age, this hard work's not all it's cracked up to be. But I was wrong. Okay, hard work was important. But to me, I realized there's more to it than the hard work. And that's where I bring into play having a process and being able to define the steps that are needed to take in order to get where you desire to go. And therein, as I said before, lies the value of those people you bring into your life that can help guide you define those steps. Somewhat tedious, perhaps, from time to time. But as I said, when you think about it, if you define each one of those goals and those priorities that you have in your life, and as I suggested with players that we have in our program, I would, after meeting with them and going over all of the priorities that they have in their lives that are for their goals, then we would sit down and talk about how do we achieve them. And I would ask them to take that same notebook, and each night for one solid week, 7 days, is to write down under each goal, what do I have to do to achieve that goal? It might be 5 things, it might be 10, it might be 15, it might be 20, I don't know. And if you didn't know, then you would go find someone that could help give you some guidance and some direction, bring that person into your life that can have a positive impact on your life and can give you guidance about how to reach that particular goal step by step. And if you are, and I would suggest that there probably aren't too many in this group, but if you are one of those individuals that lingers with instant self-gratification, even at that, if you have that little thing that you're going to accomplish, that objective that you're going to accomplish today, and you do, then that is accomplishment. That is accomplishment and should bring you back for the next step. And step by step as we get there. And then the last thing, truly does become the hard work part of it. It's kind of the just do it, the Nike slogan. Those of you that, most of you go out and buy a Nike shirt from time to time, would be my guess. That slogan has great meaning. Because sometimes we just don't bring ourselves to just do it. It's kind of like getting up in the morning. Most of you probably don't like to get out of bed and come to school in the mornings, would like to sleep in a little bit longer, but what do you have to do? You have to just do it. You have to put one foot on the floor, then you put the other foot on the floor, then you stand up and you move forward. You just did it, whether you wanted to or not. And that is a great value and a great tribute for people to have, not just young people, but for all people to have. So many things don't get accomplished because we just don't do it when we have the capabilities to do exactly that. I can remember many years ago, Phil Knight, you may know the name. Phil Knight started, owns, operates Nike, one of the richest men in the world, and certainly a company that has met with a tremendous amount of success in our country. Many years ago, when I first came to Kansas State, I happened to be in, I think we were in Las Vegas, and at an event that involved athletics, football coaches, and Phil Knight was there. And I was in a conversation with Phil Knight, and Phil Knight was telling the story about Nike stock. If any of you are to follow the stock market, you realize that Nike is pretty pricey on the stock market and has continually gone up with some exceptions. But he was telling me the story that one day, and he followed, obviously, because it was his company, he followed the stock market, and in several days in a row, the stock market was kind of brutal to Nike, and the stock dropped and dropped and dropped, and he didn't know why. He went to all the people that worked for him and said, let's research this, let's find out what's going on. And after a while, what he realized was the people in his corporation, Nike Corporation, had taken the slogan, just do it, out of play and added another slogan. And obviously, that stock had gone down, and he felt that it was because the slogan was off the market. And that made sense to me. And he went back to his people and he said, let's put Just Do It back on the market right now. That's going to be part of our advertising. As soon as they did it, the stock went in a positive direction and became very successful. I tell that story because the capacity to just do things, is so significant, so easy, so simple to think about, to talk about, not the easiest thing always to do, and it seems like it's very minor to most people, but it gives you guidance and direction, and it allows you to take those steps to initiate all the things you need to do to become highly successful in your lives. I think one of the significant things becomes, what do we call perseverance, or not giving up, or persistence. And to just do it, and to continue to work at things, and to overcome adversity, which each and every one of us does. We all have adversity in our life. You've had adversities before. You will again, each and every one of us. How do we respond to it? How do we overcome it? And perseverance, not giving up, is such a value of significance and importance. And each and every one of you have a story or two or three stories about great perseverance and not giving up. Whether it's in athletics, whether it's in your family life, whatever the case may be. Every individual in this room, can tell stories about great perseverance. I think one of the things, you all have had a history class, and in your readings you read about Abraham Lincoln. And Abraham Lincoln, to me, was an amazing man, and maybe for reasons, in my eyes, for reasons different than might be in yours. I think about Abraham Lincoln, and I think of this story, and it is relative to perseverance and not giving up. Abraham Lincoln attempted to gain public office, ran for public office on 7 occasions, and failed at every single one. Went bankrupt during that period of time. His fiancée, wife-to-be, died a sudden, tragic death. All of those negative things happened to him. You have to ask yourself the question, would you have continued to fight the battle? Would you have continued to try to reach your ambition? For many, maybe for most, the answer is probably no. Abraham Lincoln did, and on his 8th occasion, his 8th opportunity run for public office, he became the President of our United States. That is great perseverance. I tell a story again about a meeting in California. I was in Long Beach, California, once again after I'd come to Kansas State University, and I met a gentleman at a function in Long Beach, California, by the name of Steven Spielberg. I don't know how many of you would recognize the name. Your parents certainly would. Steven Spielberg is probably the most infamous movie producer in the country, in the world, and has been for some time. Steven Spielberg was telling the story. I was in a group of 4 or 5 people, and he was telling a story that I can relate to. He wanted to be in the movie production business when he was in high school. And the University of Southern California had the most prominent movie production course of study and major field of study of any university in the world, not just the country, in the world. And that's where he wanted to go to school. And he was denied admissions because of his grades. And he went to Long Beach Community College, 2-year university, or 2-year institution. He wanted to get back into USC and still couldn't. So he went to Hollywood. He found the cheapest apartment that he could find. He moved in. He went from studio to studio to studio to see if they would hire him as a custodian or any odd jobs that they have. He couldn't find one. So he volunteered. and one of the movie studios accepted him on a volunteer basis. Eventually, he received a part-time job, and eventually he moved into higher positions and eventually became the most prominent and famous film producer in Hollywood ever. That was perseverance. That was perseverance. That was not giving up when the chances seemed to be very small. I have as was indicated, we have 5 children. Our middle daughter, his name is Meredith, when she was your age, actually a year younger, she was a junior in high school, came home one night, put her hand on the doorknob to come in, and a young lady, a friend of hers, drove up in her automobile and said, "Meredith, will you come and spend some time talking with me? I have some problems, and I need to visit with you about them." And my daughter, who's a wonderful young lady, who always wanted to be there for others and to help others, got in the automobile. The young lady drove up on the highway. Come to find out, the young lady had been drinking alcohol, was going far faster than she should have, went off of the road, hit a tree head on. My daughter went through the front windshield of the automobile, hit her head on a tree, and broke her neck. That evening, she had to go to Dallas Presbyterian Hospital and have surgery on her spinal cord. After the surgery, the surgeon came out and said, "Coach Snyder, your daughter will never walk again for the rest of her life," and turned around and walked off. And I caught up with the doctor and I said, "I don't mean to be rude. My daughter will overcome this." My daughter went into a coma. She was on life support. She couldn't speak. Her eyes were constantly open. Never knew whether she could hear anything that was being said. No response whatsoever, no movement. One day, I'm at the foot of her bed, and the big toe on her right foot moves like that. I found the nurse, and I said, "My daughter just moved the big toe on her right foot." And the nurse said to me, "Coach, you can't get excited about that. That is called an involuntary twitch. It happens to all spinal cord patients, and it has no impact on whether she will regain any movement whatsoever." And I said the same thing to her. I said, "I don't mean to be rude, but I want you to know my daughter will overcome this." 6 weeks later, my daughter, with the aid of a cane and a helping hand, walked out of the Dallas Rehab Center. Today, my daughter has 3 children. She owns 2 businesses. She operates 80 acres of property. Her husband is a football coach, and consequently, he doesn't have all the time to be at home with the children. And the 3 children are all boys. They're all rugrats. They bounce off of walls, and she manages all of that. See, that was persistence. That's what, when I talked to the doctor and I talked to the nurse, that's exactly what I knew. This is a young lady that I know well enough to know she will never give up. And she didn't. Persistence is a major value to have in order to follow a process to achieve the successes that you want. I think part of it, we talk about persistence, but part of it too is, what are our expectations? If I were to ask you a question, about expectations placed upon you, you could go back from as far back as you can think. Someone has always placed expectations on your abilities to achieve success, have they not? Your parents, your mother, your father have always said, these are expectations we have of you. Behave yourself, go to school, get good grades, study hard, stay away from alcohol, etc., etc. Okay. Other people have always had those expectations. Your teachers, same thing. Always had great expectations of you. Everywhere you go, someone has great expectations of your abilities to achieve. The most important thing are your self-expectations. What do you expect of yourself? And one of the things that we find today is that far too many young people, old people as well, place great limitations on their abilities to achieve success. Too often, our thoughts are, we cannot do that. That is too difficult. That is too hard. When indeed, it goes back to what your mother said to you, your father said to you many years ago, you can achieve anything you desire to achieve. And indeed, as was mentioned a moment ago about having confidence in your capabilities to achieve successes becomes highly, highly significant. And I think, maybe the last thing in terms of decisions. You've heard that all of your life, haven't you, about making the right decisions in your life? Okay. Well, I'm not talking about those same types of decisions that you've been addressed time and time again about. I'm talking about all the decisions that you make in your life that will impact, your future and will impact your capacity to become successful in life. And I believe in a process about making decisions. It's easy to say, okay, I'll do it if it's right, and if it's not right, I won't do it. Sometimes, do we really know what is the right thing to do? And I'm not talking about, the decisions based on drugs or alcohol, et cetera, et cetera. Those go without saying. What I'm talking about are those life-changing decisions that you make, those career decisions that you make, whatever it is. And I've always asked young people to think along these lines. And I would suggest, when you have a decision to make in your life, understanding that it can be of great significance. Sometimes when we make a wrong decision, it's something that is life-lasting and can create major, major distractions in our lives. And we never know when that's going to take place. You never know. We make thousands of decisions a day. Okay? And most of them have very little significance in our lives. But there's going to come that one, that two, that three, those decisions that are going to have a major impact on your life. Are you going to be prepared to make the right decision? And as I shared with our players, it is important, in my way of thinking, that when a decision confronts you, that you take a step back and you take 30 seconds out of your life, not very much time at your age, and ask yourself a question. If I indeed choose to do this, in other words, if I make this decision, will it help me with each and every one of my priorities? In other words, these are the important things in my life. If I choose to do this, will it help me with my faith? Will it help me with my family? Will it help me with my future? Will it help me be a better person, a better student, or whatever else your priorities happen to be? And if the answer is yes, do it with all the enthusiasm that you can. If the answer is no, what's the value in making that decision? Make all the right decisions. I pray that you will. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you so much for putting up with me. Enjoy it.
Will senior members of Free Spirit please join the choir for your final performance? Today, Free Spirit will be performing our alma mater and defining moment. At this time, with the class of 2019, the Salina High School Central faculty, and every Mustang in the audience, please rise as Free Spirit performs our alma mater.
ready for this defining moment.
Everybody, hey, it's time to wake up. Are you ready? Things are gonna shake up. Can you feel it? Feel it on the inside. Nothing's gonna stop us. Nothing's gonna stop us now. We can always reach a little higher. Find a way to light a little fire. Turn it up and never let it down. You know nothing's gonna stop us. Nothing's gonna stop us now. We've never been this far before. This could be the defining moment. This could be the defining moment. History will unfold before us. This could be the defining moment of our Can you hear it? Hear it getting louder. Lift our voices now, we're feeling prouder. Moving on and never looking back. You know nothing's gonna stop us. Nothing's gonna stop us now. Gonna jump and shout and join the party. Never gonna doubt, cause this is our day. Moving on and take it to the top. You know nothing's gonna stop us. Nothing's gonna stop us now. We've never been this close before. This could be the defining moment. This could be the defining moment. History will unfold before us. This could be the defining moment of our life. This could be so defining
Thank you, Mr. Holmquist and Free Spirit, for the fantastic renditions of our alma mater and the defining moment. Next, we will recognize our academic regalia. Members of Thespian Troop 639 are wearing blue and yellow cords today. Senior thespians, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Members of the National Forensics League Honor Society are wearing red and gray cords. Senior members of the National Forensics Honor Society, please stand and be recognized. Members of the National FFA organization are wearing blue and gold cords tonight. FFA members, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Members of the Tri-M Music Honor Society are wearing 2 pink cords tonight. Tri-M members, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Members of the Salina High School Central Robotics team are wearing red, silver, and blue cords today. Senior robotics members, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. 4-year members of the Salina High School Central Choir are also wearing pink cords tonight. 4-year choir members, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. 70 CTE pathway completers are wearing cords in a variety of colors today as recognition for completing the USD 305 curriculum requirements in one of our designated pathways. In total, these 70 students represent 9 different fields: animal science, construction and design, digital media, engineering and applied mathematics, health science, power, structural, and technical systems, restaurant and event management, teaching and training, and web and digital communications. Seniors recognized as being pathway completers, would you all please stand and be recognized? Thank you. At this time, would T. Wynn please stand? Not only was T a CTE pathway completer, she was also recognized by the Kansas State Department of Education as being a CTE scholar. T was the only USD 305 student to achieve this distinction this year. Let's please give T. Wynn a round of applause. Thank you. Jobs for America's Graduates is a program designed to prepare students for life after high school. Students in JAG are wearing red, white, and blue cords today. Members of JAG, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Members of National Honor Society are wearing blue stoles today to symbolize their academic, civic, and leadership accomplishments. Members of the National Honor Society, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Each student that is in the top 10% of the senior class, based upon 7th semester weighted GPA, is wearing an academic honor medal with a maroon band. Will the top 10% of the senior class please stand and be recognized? Thank you. At this time, will the following students please stand? Callahan Figgs, Phoebe Helton, and Riley Counts. These students have achieved the status as the top 1% of the senior class and today are wearing an academic honor medal with a black band. Callahan, Phoebe, and Riley, we congratulate you on this tremendous accomplishment. Dr. Hardy, it is my pleasure as the principal of Salina High School Central to certify to you and to the USD 305 Board of Education that each of the students before you has met the graduation requirements set forth by the great state of Kansas and by Salina Public Schools USD 305. Senior class and student council officers will be reading the names of our graduates today. Please welcome Audrey Burgoon, Annie Taggart, Riley Counts, Matthew Goldammer, Rebecca Huff, Douglas Chance, and Brett Norris to the stage. Our graduates today will be presented their diplomas by members of the USD 305 Board of Education. We ask all of our guests that during the reading of student names, you are considerate of all students and allow each name to be heard and to be celebrated. Seniors, prepare to receive your diplomas.
Callahan Faye Figgs. Ashley R. Aiken. Jeb S. Allen. Abraham Alonzo. Kaya Suiko Arkayan. Parker J. Armstrong. Cameron Malin Arnold. Samuel Beza. Brittany B. Ball. Richard Nicholas Ball. Corey Barnes. Dakota J. Barnes. Justin L. Bartholomew. Noah Stephen Barton. Mirage H. Bakhta. Alexis Cheyenne Broxma. Nicholas Cody Brenneman. Drew Burgoon. Gage S. Burmaster. Jarrell A. Burnett. Danielle M. Burton. Bakari Anthony David Camise. William D. Carley. Karina Carrillo. Michaela Castro Lux. Anna Cerna. Skylar R. Chappell. Timothy Isaac Crisp. Austin E. Chrisman.
Jaron L. Clark. Lillian Vashti Cobbs. Emily K. Korn. Aaliyah Cortez. Noah Charles Countryman. Madison M. Crowder. Lauren Elise Collins. Joshua H. Daly. Madison K. Davis. Isaac Paul Davison. Adrian A. DeLeon. Cameron Nicholas DeMars. Dylan Michael Dominguez. Manuel Alexander Dominguez. Brigitte Darcy Dow. Benjamin K. Driver. Mackenzie Eberly. Ashley Marie Eck. Sawyer L. Eland. Georgian A. Enns. Patrice Espinoza. Annie J. Ewing. Zachary Falk. Caitlin Kelly Forsberg. Hannah Franco. Charles Nathan Frederick. Jonathan Brooks French. Dayton M. Geist. Gregory D. Gibson.
Caden Chance Jimison. Caleb Joshua Glenn. Nicole Marie Gokenauer. Andrew Paul Goddell. Raiden A.J. Gonzalez. Adam M. Gonzalez. Kyle H. Grace. David Grammer. Mark J. Grammer. Estefania Granado Romero. Nova Madeline Green. Devin A. Griffith. Indigo Ann Guys. Maria Alida Gutierrez. Shari T. Haggard-Kiggins. Mackenzie L. Hall. Daniel Haller. Madison Harvey. Aaron J. Hawley. Emily Ann Hart. Phoebe Alicia Helton. Samuel Allen Heeger. Jordan N. Hill. Dakota L. Hitchcock. Grace Catherine Holgerson. Jordan Mackenzie Hoover. Grace P. Hopkins. Braden Marie Holtberg.
Aaliyah A.R. Humphreys. Thaddeus S. Illingworth. Benjamin J. Ireton. Braden Irvine. Destiny R. Jackson. Carlos Elliott Jaramillo. Gerardo J. Jaramillo. Devlin Camry J. Delilah Jimenez. Lanasia Nikaira Johnson. Lane D. Johnson. Levi K. Johnson. Taylor Johnson. Janae D. Jones. Raven R. Kattlecheck. Riley Lawrence Carlin. Madison Timory Commons. Sadie Allington Casso. Kyle Lee Christine. Miranda K. Cromer. Caitlin D. Lawrence. Montana Sky Lyndon McCollum. Destiny Grace Loader. Tanner A. Loeffler. Asia Lee Longjonte. Avery Ann Laux. Raymond Madeira. Tori Lee Marsh. Hector L. Martinez.
Miriam R. Martinez. Malachi Luke Sadie L. Marvin. Samantha Ann Mattingly. Caden W. Madison. Tyler Allen Mayorga. Monica M. McNelly. Seth McPhail. Amani D. McSwain. London Marie Means. Sela Nicole Merkel. Gage Adler Middleton. Avery Scott Miller. Seda Renee Mills. Trey Thomas Montoy. Madison K. Montre. Ana Moran Meraz. Mercedes Celeste Morgan. Joshua Ronald Morrow. Ashley Marie Morton. Lacey Dawn Myers. Delaney Nicole Nash. Stephen Gennaro Nava. Alora Haley Ratano Nesting. Kimberly Navarez. T.N. Wen. Blake Neal Olmstead. Alexis Nicole Pack. Matias Pascual. Angela F. Perales. Macy J. Perez. Taylon Thomas Peters. Chloe Amelia Pettyjohn. William Pachinla. Hannah M. Pipp. Michael L. Plum. Cora Lynn Powers. Gavin Michael Prester. Morgan Marie Queen. Elizabeth Cazada. Dylan Cole Regueth. Hunter Rapp. Carly Francis Redding. Genesis M. Resto Torres. James Brogan Richardson. Corey J. Rickley. Angel Rodriguez. Fernando Ruben Rodriguez. Matthew Stephen Rosado. Logan Roush. Denzel Ruiz. Evelyn Ruiz. Victoria A. Ruiz. Abigail M. Russell. Michael J. Russell. Adrian L. Ruvalcaba. Emilio Andres Sainz. Holly Elaine Sanderson. Megan Marie Sankey.
Thomas Reese Schooler. Jackson Lake Scott. Shanara Surya Shabaka. Sierra Tristan Sheets. Riley Samuel Shepard. Clayton Andrew Sherrill. Brooke Shirley. Sadie L. Simpson. Kaylee Hunter Madison Sparks. Madison Lee Stack. Terry Dylan Thomas Stifler. Ashley J. Stovall. Ty J. Straight. Jesselyn Stewart. Gavin L. Sutton. Alexis M. Tatum. Javier Taylor. Jeray M. Thomas. Kaisha Brianna Marie Thomas. Daniel Mateo Torres. Belen J. Tostado. Lauren Marie Tubal. Jeremy Dale Voppel. Caleb C. Vieira. Mackenzie A. Vogan. Cody James Wakefield. River Garrett Weaverling. Allison Gwen Wenzel. Harper Noble Williams. Sheree N. Williams. Gavin L. Wolfmule.
To the left.
Brett James Norris. Douglas Dean Allen Chance. Rebecca Jill Huff. Matthew David Goldammer. Riley Anthony Counts. Annie Catherine Taggart. Audrey Esther Burgoon.
Our final student address of the evening will be delivered tonight by Mr. Brett Norris.
It's only fitting that standing here at the end of a journey and towards the end of the ceremony, diplomas in hand, as someone takes us back to the beginning. One day when I was a little boy, I met this girl. There was something about her, She didn't really mean anything to me at the time, but I could just tell she and I had a connection. I would hear about her a lot through rumors and small talk. She had a reputation for just being super mean and scary. Nobody seemed to like her. Just like everyone else in my class, I was afraid to talk to her, so I never did. However, that would all change pretty quickly. The first day of my freshman year, back in 2015, I walked into the south entrance of the school and holy crap, there she was. Not just there she was looking directly at me. Yeah, I was freaking out. I'd never talked to a girl before. That's what I had a cell phone for. But this girl just walked right up to me and reached out her hand. And then she said, "Hello, my name is Salina Central High School." At that moment, I knew I was going to start hanging out with this girl quite a bit. At first, she was really not very attractive. Trust me, she had some obvious personal issues. She made us walk through hallways that were like 5 feet wide and would always annoy me with construction noises during class. That's not even the worst part. She was super clingy, too. There were a lot of days where I just did not want to see her, but she would never leave me alone. If it was up to me, I probably would have just blocked her on all social media and avoided her as much as possible. But my parents liked her a lot, so I had to continue to hang out with her. Sophomore and junior year rolled around, and she started to grow on me. I still remember that moment when I saw her the first day of sophomore year after the construction was finished. Trust me, guys, she was hot. During these 2 years, she and I really started to click. She was still pretty cranky some days, but I learned to look past that. You know, she would challenge me quite a bit, but still allow me to have a lot of fun at sporting events and dances. You know, we started to understand each other. She took into account that I really didn't like health class or speech. And I took into account that about 90% of the things I said as a freshman were extremely annoying. We took a short break for junior year summer. Trust me, we needed it. And then I came back to her for my senior year. This year was different though. This year she was going to be less controlling. And for the most part, pretty chill. This year, she was going to give me some of the best sports teams in the state. She was going to give me second lunch with my friends every day, and classmates that I enjoyed working with. She was going to give me student sections, away game road trips, and memories on the soccer field with my boys. She was going to let me know what it felt like to be one of the seniors I was afraid of my freshman year. She was going to give me the power to make my senior year exactly what I wanted it to be. You know, Salina Central, it's not you, it's me. This relationship has benefited me a lot, and I hope it's benefited you as well. You know, you've taught me so much. Some of it I will use for the rest of my life. And some of it, well, I guess we'll see. I can't thank you enough for the memories we made together, and I hope you live the rest of your days to the fullest. Thank you for the perfect high school relationship. On that note, Salina Central, I think it's time for us to see other people. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett, for that excellent closing speech. I welcome our guests to join the graduates outside of the arena immediately following today's ceremony to continue the celebration. At this time, it is my honor and privilege to present to you the Salina High School Central Class of 2019. At this time, will Callahan Figs please come to the stage, and would all graduates please rise?
The changing of the tassels symbolizes the change from students to graduates. Class of 2019, please move your tassels from right to left. Congratulations, graduates, on your terrific journey, and good luck with your future successes. Now, if you could all join me in our chant one last time. We are...